presented in high definition. The Yankees, steamrolling towards 10 straight postseasons, face the Twins looking to make it 3 straight on Wednesday Night Baseball. The Yankees have certainly been the heavy metal of baseball in recent years. Nobody knows that better than the Twins. Until last night, New York had melted Minnesota 13 straight times in the regular season. Remember, the Twins were winning the AL Central the last 2 years. Last year's postseason, similar. The Yanks, 1-4 after spotting the Twins game number 1. Tonight, back into the mix for the Pinstripers is Mike Mussina, his first start since before the All-Star game. He's a big cog in any postseason plans. The Twins will look to derail him and his team. First in the AL East and Central. Next. ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball, brought to you by Bank One. Welcome to the Metrodome, a.k.a. the Homer Dome in Minneapolis, as the AL East leading New York Yankees play the AL Central leading Minnesota Twins in this middle game of this 3-game set. Game 1 of the Twins last night, 8-2. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Chris Berman. So glad you can be with us here. The dog days of August, and 2 teams we're seeing now, we could see, as we did last October, go mano-a-mano. But first things first. Hope everybody enjoyed Old School Sports Center. We're doing old school Wednesday Night Baseball. I welcome back my old school partner, Buck Martinez.
Chris, great to be here.
Nice that your hair hasn't changed at all.
A little bit.
Neither has mine. Nice color. Look, the Yankees, and they haven't clinched anything yet, but they have a big lead over Boston. But of all the games they're going to play from here on in, this Mike Mussina first start since the All-Star game bears significant watching. Would you agree?
Yes, I do, Chris. I think this has been the most unsettled season in Joe Torre's run as the Yankee manager because of the starting pitching. Mike Mussina hasn't pitched since the 6th of July, and even before he went on the disabled list, he wasn't pitching very well. The saving grace for Mussina is tonight he faces a team that he absolutely owns. He's 20-2 against the Minnesota Twins, but the Yankees really need to have a healthy Mike Mussina if they expect to go deep in the playoffs.
Hey, the Twins have a big-time #1 starter. We're going to see him tonight in Johan Santana. Since early June, he's been just about unhittable. He leads the American League in strikeouts. He's got the lowest batting average again. He's electric, isn't he, Buck?
Well, he sure is. And the big thing about Johan Santana is he is like Jacque Morris and Frank Viola. He is indeed a #1 starter. He is overpowering over his last 13 games, 10-2. He has 20 more strikeouts than Pedro Martinez. This guy has 3 great pitches, and even if one of those pitches isn't working for a while, he now has confidence that he can beat you with 2.
And I know you hate to say that somebody's ahead of a Martinez. I know you just don't like that. We got a big game tonight. Some of the young Twins. We saw a long home run last night from the Canadian first baseman Justin Morneau. And we saw a big bomb last night from Gary Sheffield. Can the Yankees avoid only their 3rd 3-game losing streak of the season? We'll be back. So welcome to Minnesota. Beautiful day. It actually rained, but then the sun came out. It's just nice in the summer up here. And these 2 teams got to know each other last October. Will they do it again? Joe Torre steamrolling toward the postseason. Once again, the Yankees lead the Red Sox by 9 in the AL East. Scoring, not a problem. ERA, bullpen, very good at the end. Starters, Buck hinted about it, and we'll get into that as the game goes along. And all those guys with 10 or more homers, although we will not see Alex Rodriguez tonight or Jason Giambi. Giambi's still recovering, and A-Rod, the final game of his 4-game suspension. So that means that Miguel Cairo is at third base, Jeter second, Sheffield in right field. Bernie Williams swinging a better bat at center field. Matsui, a big catch last night. Posada behind the plate. Ruben Sierra, the DH. John Olerud is impressed as a Yankee in his 11 games. Enrique Wilson at second base, and Gary Sheffield is just as advertised. However, he'd better be against Johan Santana, and I have not seen him in person yet, Buck, and I myself am excited to see anybody with electric stuff. It's like a home run hitter at the plate, except he pitches to every batter.
Absolutely. He's an overpowering pitcher. He leagues hitting just 205 against him. He has a very good ERA. He has 190 strikeouts. That's 20 more than Pedro Martinez to lead the American League. Fastball, slider, and maybe the best changeup in baseball. He has a changeup that you can literally tell the hitters it's coming, and they still can't wait back on it.
Starts the game off with a strike. Kevin Kelly behind the plate. Bruce Fremming, the crew chief, at first. Mike Winters at second. Tim Timmons is at third. This is Cairo, who had a couple of errors last night. And tomorrow, as we mentioned, A-Rod with the club. Talked to him briefly. He's still hacking and wheezing from the flu, which is why he said, well, here'd be a good time to drop the appeal of the suspension. It wouldn't be helpful to too much skip anyway. And he will play in game 3 of this 3-game set tomorrow night as Cairo fouls it back.
So you can see Santana's fastball, even though it's up in the zone so far in this inning, is really an electric fastball. Late movement on his fastball, and he can pitch up in the zone with his fastball. He'll throw a devastating slider down and in that right-handers just swing over the top of. That's the changeup that missed away.
Santana, it's interesting. And we'll watch him. He stands on the corner of the rubber, almost as if he's going to get a head start running to third base, Buck, the way he starts it.
Well, he does that to get a better angle on the first base side of home plate, and he'll throw his changeup down and away to right-handed hitters, and that gives him a real good angle. He can hide the ball a little bit better from that side of the rubber, and you can see he just barely maintained contact with his toe on the third base side of the rubber as he goes into his delivery.
And Blanco will make the throw. And Santana starts the game the way he does so many of them, with a strikeout. He leads the American League in that department, and that would be 191 strikeouts for him.
Well, you see the Minnesota Twins on defense. The ballpark here very hitter friendly. Stewart, Hunter in the outfield, good speed in the outfield. Go Glover in center field. Torrey Hunter behind the plate. Henry Blanco, he's done a good job of throwing out base stealers, 51%, and he is kind of wearing down a little bit. He's had to shoulder the majority of the work with the rookie Joe Mauer put on a disabled list for most of the season. Mauer's only played in 29 games, and Henry Blanco has done a good job for Ron Gardenhire.
But as we watch Derek Jeter step up, hitting at 278. I mean, if the Twins had their druthers, and they don't know if they're going to get Mauer at all. I mean, Blanco is an excellent second catcher, and they would like to make some sort of move in August.
They'd love to get up another catcher, but they're not that easy to find.
No. Are you available? Jeter to short, and that's Christian Guzman who makes the play. Now, Ron Gardenhire, I mean, he coached for years under Tom Kelly, so he learned, as you know better than I do, Buck, from one of the best. And Gardenhire, in his third year as managing the Twins, has a chance to win the division all 3 times. They lead the Cleveland Indians by 3.5 games. Their batting is not what it was, but their pitching is the best in the American League, primarily because of the back half of the bullpen. 2 setup guys that throw very hard, and Joe Nathan is, well, I can tell you this, if the Giants knew that he was going to be this, I don't know if they make the trade, although Przinsky has done an excellent job as a catcher for him. But Nathan's been lights out. Meanwhile, Sheffield looks at strike 1.
Yeah, if you tell most people around baseball the Twins are leading the American League in pitching, they'd kind of look you a little bit sideways and are you sure?
In this park?
Yep, they are. And they have done a good job. And as you mentioned, Boomer, the bullpen has been great. Joe Nathan has been the horse down there. J.C. Romero has come back throwing very well. Juan Rincon's done a good job in the 7th inning.
Oh, Sheffield just mashes that, and it's a fair ball down the line. Long run for Shannon Stewart. Sheffield, playing with bad shoulder and all, continues to motor along with a 2-out double.
Now, Gary Sheffield does a good job of getting to this slider. He got jammed a bit, but he's able to keep it fair down in the left field line. You can see out in front, actually hit it off the end of the bat. Might have been a changeup, and watch how he gets that bat head to the baseball and keeps it fair. Big 2-out double for Gary Sheffield. That's his 19th double of the season. And you're right, Boomer, he's done a heck of a job of playing around that shoulder problem, not really even worried about it. He said, hey, if I need a shot, I get a shot. Just part of the game.
If we need to go in, we'll do it in November.
Yep.
Here's Bernie Williams, who scuffled most of the season, certainly by his own standards. He, though, the last couple of weeks has been about as hot a Yankee. He and Matsui have really hit well. In there for a strike. And there's Matsui in the on-deck circle, who Boy, the more you watch him, the more impressed you are with him.
Well, second year in the league now, and he's more comfortable with how the league's going to pitch to him. He's got more confidence about his own approach here.
Behind that pitch was Bernie, and so Santana ahead 0-2. Here's what we said by Bernie's statistics, and of course we know what a performer he's been in the postseason for Joe Torre's Yankees. You see, the last 2 years, it's a far cry, and you know we like to say 1 is an accident, 2 is a trend. I mean, you know, you can change a lot of things when you're on the New York Yankees, i.e., he could put up another great October. There's Kenny Lofton, who has played in center, and Kenny tonight sits as Bernie's in center and Sierra's at DH.
That was a changeup that Santana kind of telegraphed. He didn't have real good arm action on that changeup, and because of that, he threw it high, and it was something Bernie Williams saw right out of his hand. Watch the delivery here, and he slows his arm action down, and that changeup stays high. Normally, if he's going to be effective with that pitch, it's got to be at the knees and lower.
We'll do it again. You know, an early start here, 6 o'clock local time instead of the usual 7, and posted at 7. We thank the Twins for moving the start for us. So some folks just arriving at the park. They had 44,000 last night. Baseball, it's 45 plus. So this place will be pretty jam-packed this evening in the home of the outfield Hefty Bags. Good patience by Bernie to lay off that pitch.
Boy, I tell you what, I don't know if he swung at it, but it sure looked like a good pitch to me. This is a devastating slider. Blanco slides to the inside corner, and how did that not get called strike 3? That looked like it split the heart of the plate. It's only the second slider that Santana has thrown this inning. First time he threw it, he struck out Cairo to start the inning.
Hard to say about the crowd is with Santana going, they've become a well now with 2-2. I don't hear it as much. Looking for the strikeout, that sort of crowd. And they got it. Strikeout to begin the inning, strikeout to end the inning. Sheffield stranded at second base. Heading to the bottom of the first inning here in Minnesota with the Yankees and the Twins. No score.
Center field is definitely my home. And I'm always ready to hit that wall. Sometimes I hit the wall so hard, it rattles my brain. But I'd rather rob a home run than hit a home run any day of the week. Just to see the expression on their face, that's the best feeling ever. I live for this.
Catch Major League Baseball all season long on ESPN.
First inning, Ron Gardenhire. His third year as skipper here with the Minnesota Twins, and he's got this lineup tonight, which is outfield leading it off. Shannon, Stewart, Jacque Jones, and Torrey Hunter. Then the young first baseman that we talked about that would be with the Canadian Olympic team over in Athens right now, but the Twins said, no, we need you to play first. Mankiewicz, the way that Morneau played, Mankiewicz traded to the Red Sox, and he had a long home run last night. Then Lou Ford, Corey Koski, Christian Guzman, Henry Blanco, Luis Crimey Arrivas is your Twins lineup against, making his first start in almost 6 weeks for the New York Yankees, Mike Mussina.
Mussina making just his 18th start of the season. He's 9-6, and look at the ERA, 5.20, and they're hitting over 300 against Mussina. Very high numbers and unusual numbers for Mike Mussina, who has a career record with 200 wins. The thing about Mussina is he wasn't throwing well before they put him on a disabled list because of the elbow problems. It'll be interesting to see how much life he has in his pitches tonight.
Well, they hope to get 5 innings. That's the plan tonight, and then turn it over to the bullpen. And look at this. Shannon Stewart sends it back, gone. Well, that didn't take long to welcome him back. Hey, we're not buying it, say the Twins. You're going to pitch tentatively, we're going to hit authoritatively. Goodbye.
Well, this Twins team has a lot of confidence, and they know that they have not played well against the Yankees. Just 1-13 over the last 2 seasons, and they jump all over Mike Mussina. Shannon Stewart stepped to the plate with an aggressive mindset and jumped on that second pitch he saw.
His 7th home run of the year.
Trying to go down and away, and he misses all the way across to the inside part of the plate, about letter high, and Shannon Stewart takes care of it. He hammers it into the seats and left.
I mean, even a pitcher as good as Mike Mussina, you got to describe that pitch as that was what we call in the streets. That was a meatball, wasn't it? I mean,
meatball,
really, it was
sure.
a meatball.
Well, that gives you an idea. He was trying to go down and away and left it all the way across the plate to the inside.
Jacque Jones goes the other way. Matsui started in, now in foul ground, makes the catch. And there is one out. The Yankee defense, we told you, A-Rod out for the 4th and final game of the suspension. So Cairo is at 3rd. Bernie Williams patrolling center field tonight, Buck. And then John Olerud's done a really nice job, as you knew he would at first.
Well, he's been a great pickup, a 3-time Gold Glover. Derek Jeter at shortstop has played great. Over the last 55 games, he's committed just 1 error. Only 8 errors committed all season long for Derek Jeter. And again, he is the solid rock for that infield.
Did we really think that he was going to be the one to move out of shortstop?
No.
As you look back at it now?
Not at all. Joe Torre knows how he's wearing World Series rings because Derek Jeter has played short.
So Torrey Hunter, who has not hit the way he can yet. Now, he's a guy that, you know, as we look ahead, and the Twins, you know, but the dogfight on their hands with the Indians and the White Sox, teams that they will see many times before we're done this year. But Torrey Hunter is a guy that has, in his career, had 26, 29, 27 homer seasons, 102 RBIs last year. He's hit 289, so he's lagging a little behind that pace. But he draws a base on balls here. With 1 out, the Twins with a run home of a base runner and young Morneau coming up. And here's Justin Morneau, grew up just on the outskirts of Vancouver, British Columbia. Bam!
Last night against Javier Vasquez, hits it into the upper deck, just to the left of the clock, out in right center field, and that's his 11th home run of the season. Tremendous power from this young hitter, and they didn't hesitate at all to put him in the cleanup spot.
Well, last night, and there goes on an off-speed pitch, there goes Hunter, stolen base. The Twins will play aggressive, not so much the stolen base as much as hitting and running, but boy, they know that they got the Yankees starter Mussina maybe a little tentative, and they're going to take advantage, Buck.
Absolutely. Mussina hasn't zeroed in on his command yet, and Torrey Hunter takes off. That's his 17th steal of the season. Last night, he stole second base with the infielders standing with their hands on their hips. Javier Vasquez on the mound, and he just took it uncontested.
88 steals for the Twins. They've allowed 55, so in that department they have a big plus.
Now, you certainly want to get to Mike Mussina before he settles in, and obviously he's a little anxious out there. His first start since July, trying to just get a feel for where he is.
Well, last night was and they come you know, ready to play hockey for Canada here, eh? And big Morneau fans. Last night, the 2 Canadians, Justin Morneau and Corey Koski, hit homers for the Twins. Count is 2-1. Time is called. And we should point out Larry Walker hit a grand slam for Les Cardinals. And so it's a big night across the bigs for Canadian-born major leaguers, all going yard. Putting balls on holiday, Buck.
Now, the one thing about Justin Morneau that the players like is the fact that he is patient. And he understands in run-producing situations like this, he doesn't always have to hit the ball out of the ballpark, and he's shown that he'll take that outside pitch and hit it to left center. He's not thinking all about home runs this season. Kind of a different departure than he had last year as he was trying to establish himself in the big leagues.
Last year he hit a combined 26 home runs. Began in Double-A New Britain with the Rockcats right up the road from us at ESPN. Then up to Triple-A Rochester. He had 6 in New Britain, 16 in Rochester, and 4 with the Twins. So 3 different levels last year for Morneau. He plays first base. Originally was a catcher, he said. And is a goalie. He was a goalie growing up. I said, what's the matter? It's at least first base. You don't have to wear a mask.
He is a good-looking young hitter, and I tell you, the Twins produce good young hitters year in and year out. A good pitch right there.
And, you know, just something to keep track of. They know that we've seen it 5 innings or pitch count, almost whatever comes first. You want to foul some back. You want to get in that bullpen even earlier than planned, because, you know, there's a period at the end of the sentence for Mussina tonight.
Absolutely, and Mel Stottlemyre knows it's just a matter of time, as they need to have Mussina get his pitches in, but they don't want to fall so far behind the Twins they can't catch up.
Off speed, Enrique Wilson over to Olerud. Putter moving over to third, 2 out.
Now Mussina got Morneau to chase that off-speed pitch. He's out in front, and Mussina, as he does so frequently, he's able to bail himself out of a tough situation. It's a straight changeup with a little movement down and away to Morneau, who has to try to protect the plate. He's off balance out in front, and it's a weak grounder to second.
So 2 out, and Lou Ford, designated hitter tonight, 28 years of age. Another young man that really has exceeded expectations this year. A year ago, Triple-A Rochester, the Red Wings, and here in Minnesota. But he is here to stay. Played a lot of left field, and actually can play all 3 outfield positions. Extremely versatile, and that gives Ron Gardenhire a chance to give all his outfielders a break one day. Right back to Mussina. So talk about a veteran settling down. He does just that. The Twins, though, with the leadoff man Shannon Stewart, draw first blood here. It was long ball, 1-0 Minnesota. We hate to block the smiling face of Kirby Union Gap Puckett. Up there is one of the retired numbers, number 34, recent Hall of Famer. The Minnesota Twins, is Kent Herbeck. Those teams, we had a nice discussion with the radio voice of the Minnesota Twins, Dan Mann from Gladden, sitting in the next booth, about those teams and how much I really enjoyed those teams, Buck, with Herbeck and Puckett and Gaetti. And,
they were baseball players. They went out just to play the game. They enjoyed the simple act of playing baseball, and they played together. They grew up together, and they won championships together.
John Olerud pops it, and Guzman makes the play. There's 1 out. Olerud hitting over 300 in his now 12th game as a Yankee. I mean, of course, and you learn so much. We talked about that, but there's, of course, Jackie Robinson's number retired. But Harmon killed. Well, that's different. We'll talk about Harmon, one of my favorite people. And Rod Carew's number 29 retired. Tony Oliva, the great hitting outfielder, number 6, and then Herbeck and Puckett. And the reason it's fun coming up to a place like this and reading the media guide and some stuff you don't, you know, the Twins, for a team, they've been here since '61. But you don't talk about the Twins' history, of course, you know, and talking about the Yankees and others, but they've got a lot of good stuff, and it's fun to refresh your memory. But those teams, as you pointed out, that infield they had with, we mentioned the guys, and that manager right there, who is one of the best, but will never get the credit outside of the game that he should. Agree?
Oh, absolutely. It's a remarkable run of great talent here, and you think about Gaetti, Gagne, and Kent Herbeck, and Tim Laudner behind the plate, and guys that grew up together, came through the system, and learned how to play Twins style of baseball. And it led to a couple of World Series championships here, 87 and 91. In fact, the 91 World Series championship is the last World Series championship for any Midwestern team. It's been coast to coast, and it's pretty significant that this Twins organization has been constant in their ability to recycle their young players and become contenders again.
Look at Morneau, the hockey player, making a dive, but can't come up with that from Enrique Wilson. We get a nice round of applause. So certainly is a goalie, not afraid to get his face into it.
I think he might have got a little rug burn on that right hand as he extended into foul territory and went onto that warning track. But he is not going to shy away from anything. Anxious for the opportunity to play here, and you can see the concentration initially on the grass, and then he goes onto that warning track, and I think that's where he got a little rug burn.
Full count, and we'll do it again. Ooh, watch it. But back to those, I mean, those teams, and the '87 team really had two pitchers, Frank Viola and Bert Blyleven, who is TV voices of the Twins. We had a nice visit with him.
Les Straker.
Les Moonstraker started game.
Juan Berenguer was so good out of the bullpen, but Captain Hook, Bert Blyleven, certainly.
Yeah, guess what? Can we make it short? There he is, and he is one of the funniest, as you know. Morneau's got another long run, and he can't quite get that, so he hits the wall hard. But back to Blyleven. Can we make it real clear? 287 wins. 15, we're watching Morneau again, but we're on Blyleven. I might as well just get this here. 15 1-0 complete game wins. Only two pitchers had more than him. He's still 5th in the all-time strikeout list. Where is he with the Hall of Fame voting?
Yeah.
Why not? Way to stay with it, Santana, who now gets his 3rd strikeout.
Well,
Blyleven's 5th all-time in strikeouts.
Yeah, and he needs to be considered for that, because a lot of people talk, well, you know, he just pitched a long time, and that's why he was able to rack up those numbers. But he was a dominant pitcher in his era, and that's the benchmark by which you're measured as far as the Hall of Fame. And now there are more Hall of Fame players that determine whether or not you come into the Hall of Fame. So I think he's going to get a lot more consideration in the next couple of years.
I would hope that he would. There's other categories I'm not even mentioning. I don't want to take the whole broadcast to go into. Once you go into the pitching sheets of the milestones, and I know he pitched forever, but you go, God, he's there. Oh, ERA, he's there. 3.31. Oh, strikeouts, he's here. I mean,
yeah,
keep going deeper into it, and you go, you know what? What's the problem?
Yeah, most career list, he's up in the top 10.
And as far as practical jokesters, he may be top 1. And nicknames.
He is.
And nicknames.
He's
my favorite nickname of all time. It's either Bert Be Home Blyleven or John Tonight Let It Be Lowenstein. It's one of those two. So in the nicknames, he's top material. Cairo, blooper, and that'll fall in there for a base hit. So the ball kind of bobbled around there. That was bizarre. Cairo with the 2nd hit of the night for New York.
Miguel Cairo and Enrique Wilson have done a good job filling in at second base. Cairo, of course, tonight at third base because of A-Rod's suspension. Fights off this inside fastball and just hits it into no man's land in front of Torrey Hunter. But combined, they have racked up 11 home runs and 60 RBI at second base. Basically, that's pretty good production.
Amen. Here's Derek Jeter. Popped to short his first time up. Ooh, tries to go the other way and just foul.
Derek Jeter stays behind the baseball better than anybody in the big leagues. By that, he never thinks about hooking the ball. He'll pull the ball when it's an off-speed pitch or something that he can go out and extend on and pull it. But he keeps his hands inside the baseball, and that will keep the barrel of the ball in the hitting zone longer. And because of that, he can hit any pitch to any direction of the field. And I've had many infielders tell me he's the most difficult hitter to defend against because of that.
Ooh. High and tight. And why would they cheer that? Why you know?
Up and in, and knocks Derek Jeter back off the plate. And I think the response was simply to say, you know what, we respect the Yankees, but we're going to play baseball, and that's part of the game. He certainly set up Jeter for the changeup. Now let's see if that's the pitch he goes to after that up and in fastball. One thing about it, you're not going to intimidate Derek Jeter.
No.
He will respect you for coming up and in there, but you throw it down and away, he'll stay on it. Let's see if they go to the changeup here. The looked like they were coming right back inside. Blanco is shifting to the inside part of the plate. Santana has established himself as one of the premier pitchers in baseball, especially in this second half of the season. He had elbow chips taken out last October, and he's confident now that that elbow is 100%.
To straightaway center, and look at this. Hunter looked like he was battling the roof. I mean, and nobody should be more used to it than him. But Santana gets Jeter. Cairo is stranded. Remain 1-0 Twins.
Glenn's the man going to work. Got his tie, got ambition. He knows one day he just could become supervisor.
Starbucks double shot espresso drink. Bring on the day.
Been on all 4 times, Buck, against Musina. One with a homer, but now he's dodged the other 2, and now this one will be tougher to dodge. Christian Guzman trying to drag it and doesn't get that done. Koski has been, well, you know, another hockey player, Manitoba. The big home run, the last 2 games. Look, I know what 162 game season is hard to tell. That's a big game. That's a big game. The Twins had lost the first 2 at Cleveland. They won Sunday in Cleveland, would have tied him for first. More on that in a moment. Koski, and this what happened. He struck out early in the game at Cleveland, went in and just shattered a chair in the clubhouse, came back, steamed, hit a 2-run homer in the 10th. Minnesota won the game, salvaging the 3rd game in that series, keeping themselves with a 2-game lead over Cleveland and not falling behind. Then last night, Koski homers, and they snap an 0-for-13 regular season streak against the Yankees. So you may look back at these 2 games for Minnesota as we go 6 weeks in advance and go, you know, that was a key couple of games for the Twins if they go on to win the Central.
Yeah, if they don't win on Sunday, they're tied with the Indians. And on Sunday, Lou Ford was hit by a pitch before Koski came to the plate in the 10th inning, and then Koski would deliver that decisive home run.
Guzman drives this one to right field. It sends it back. Off the hefty. 1 run is in. 2 runs will score. 3-0 Twins on a drive by Guzman. Hit by pitch and 2 doubles. 1 1 ringing, and the Twins are in business.
A bloop and a blast, and just like that, the Twins have 2 runs here in the 4th inning. Lou Ford got hit by Musina to start the inning. Corey Koski had the flare double, and this ball is hammered. A low fastball again. Musina's command is off. That was meant to be inside. It's out over the plate, and Guzman hammers it off the right field.
Whatever it is.
3 runs now.
Ooh, and a bunt drop down by Rivas. Musina, with all those gold gloves, fields it nicely, but Guzman over to the 3rd. Blanco, I was ahead of myself. I figured that was the element of surprise.
Now he's trying to push it past Musina, but Mike's so good at this. He comes off the mound, gloves it, and takes the bag himself at first base. Blanco does his job.
I give him the nod. You would not think that that's what he would be doing.
Well, he wants to contribute. However, with this bat right now, he's done a great job behind the plate. And he told me, he said, I need to do something with the bat. And right there he does. He contributes by moving the base runner over to 3rd.
You hang out with all the catchers, don't you?
You bet. Get all the information from them.
Here's Rivas. Luis Crimea Rivas. Chop but foul. Past the 3rd base coach, Al Newman. And boy, is it good to see him out there with what he's gone through. A brain hemorrhage last September. Another little flare-up in the spring. We had a great conversation. Managed many of these guys when he was the AA manager for the Twins at New Britain. Many of these Twins that you're seeing here now were managed by Al, and of course he was kind of one of those feel-good guys on those World Championship teams in '87 and '91. Cairo, Stewart gets the foot down, and Guzman has to hold. Quick update, Steve Levy.
Chris, as Dibbs and I were saying earlier, never count out Roger Clemens. He's been hot, but at the plate, Dibbs.
Second time this year, Lee. He 2 RBIs on a single. Not bad for a 42-year-old guy. Spent his entire career till this year in the American League.
Phils could drop to 1-8 on their homestand.
Phillies. The Phillies.
Yeah, they have
What?
really had a tough stretch.
What?
They lost Jim Thome for a couple of days over the weekend. David Bell's been out with a back problem.
Yeah, but
They've not played well.
yeah,
The
but
pitching staff has been awful.
that's one of the biggest disappointments this season, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Burrow trying to play through what, could be broken wrist. They're trying to not have the surgery. This ball by Stewart, ripped to left, and that'll bring home Guzman. And here goes Stewart, safe. Big night for Shannon Stewart. Homer, single, double, 4-0 Twins.
And when the 4th inning, Shannon Stewart has had Messina's number from his first at bat tonight, and he hammers this into left field. He has been on every pitch he's swung at, and this is a big 2-out double as he cashes in Guzman from third. And remember, all of this started with Lou Ford getting hit by a pitch, and it has led to 3 runs.
Now, I know this is Mike Mussina just back. And I know that, a lot of these numbers that you post are against guys that are long since departed. But Mike Mussina is 20-2 in the regular season against the Minnesota Twins. 20-2. So this means a lot to these young Twins. I know they beat him in Game 1 last year in the playoffs, but 20-2 is 20-2.
Yeah, he has more wins against the Twin than anybody else in his career. And I asked Torrey Hunter specifically about Mike Mussina. I said, what was it about Mussina that you guys were never able to beat him? He says, we always were intimidated by Mike Mussina. He came in here, we said, man, that's Mike Mussina. He's got great stuff, 95-mile-an-hour fastball. We were beaten before we ever took the field. And he said, now we understand that, we're pretty good too. We've aged, we understand that we're good players, and we don't give him as much credit as we did early in our career.
Well, they're playing again. They have a lead against a guy they're 2-20 against. A team that they were 0-13 against till last night. And they almost gave up the lead in the Central to Cleveland. This could be a red letter week and Cleveland comes in here next, by the way. This could be a big week for the Minnesota Twins if it goes like this.
Well, you're right. And they go into Cleveland and lose the first 2 games of that series, and it's kind of a slap in the face and say, wait a minute. We're being challenged for the division lead right now.
By us 3 years ago.
Absolutely. And it's a wake-up call. So now they beat Cleveland, send them on their way to Texas, and Cleveland's not been able to recover since then. And now the Twins have beaten the Yankees in the first game of this series and have a lead here in Game 2. And there are turning points, obviously, with everyone's season. But to be able to win the first game of this series, Radke pitched a great game. You see the Central Division standings, 3.5 games now separate the Twins from the Indians. The White Sox have fallen back 5 games, but it gives you a little cushion.
Swinging through that is Jacque Jones, but not until the Twins touch Mike Mussina for a 3 spot. We played 4. 4-0 Minnesota. Top of the 5th inning. Chris Berman, Buck Martinez here in Minnesota, where the Twins lead the Yankees 4-0. Middle game of this 3-game set. And yes, ESPN is here tonight expecting Santana's perfection nightly. Well, he only goes every 5th day, but
every time he goes to the mound, they expect perfection.
Well, let's start racking up what he's been this season. As Posada looks at that one outside. Is coming in, let's see, so tonight he has 1, 2, 3 strikeouts, right? So that's low for him. 193 strikeouts leads Pedro Martinez now by 23 in the American League, and third is Curt Schilling with 143. So that's, as Cat Stevens once sang, that's miles from nowhere. His 12 wins, you see what that is. The ERA second in the league, 205, the best in the league batting average. And we showed you at the beginning what he has done since June 9th, his last 13 starts. Here's the number that jumps at me, Buck, and maybe we can put this up again. But okay, 97 and a third innings, 47 hits, 129 Ks, 47 hits, and I mean,
yeah, he is
obscene.
dominant. He's dominated the league since middle of the season. And there's a changeup. Let me tell you something. A two-strike changeup with a good hitter at the plate. Now think of the mindset. Hitters are thinking about just putting the ball in play with 2 strikes. They're defending against the strike zone. They're short and quick, and Posada's still out in front. That tells you all you need to know about the quality of Santana's changeup. Great arm action. Hitter thinks fastball. The ball never comes out of his hand, and the hitters are still ahead of it.
But you know what I'm seeing tonight? Because, I mean, I've watched him, but not in person. As Ruben High Sierra does exactly that, hits it high. And Rivas grabs that. There's 2 outs. Well, let's quickly go back to leaves and dips, fellas.
Chris, to one of our favorite cities, Tampa, Florida. The Angels and Dan Vlad earlier hit his 26th homer of the season.
Nobody can hack at pitches better than Vlad Guerrero. Best bad ball hitter in the major leagues. He gets a double to right at a pitch that's right at his eyes.
Angels a game and a half out of the wild card, Chris.
All right, well, the Devil Rays much improved, but the Angels, I don't think we've seen the best from them
No,
yet, Buck.
not at all. Mike
I'm
Scioscia,
waiting on
yeah,
them.
he says that too. They have not really been consistent, much like what Ron Gardner is saying about his Twins. On offense, they've been very inconsistent. I think it has a lot to do with what Rob Dibble said about Vladdy Guerrero. He's a hacker and a slasher, and because of that, you won't have that consistent night after night great approach at the plate. And same goes for Jose Guillen.
This is hit well by Olerud to left field, and leaping at the fence. What else can he do tonight is Shannon Stewart. 3 hits and now a direct hit on the wall. Everybody on their feet. It's a night for Shannon Stewart today. Johan Santana pounding New York, as the sign says thus far. Now the Twins, who lead 4-0, send up Blanco, Rivas, and Stewart, 8-9-1. And that man has put them in position to beat the Yankees for 2 in a row. They need a long way to go. As Tanyan Sturts pitches a second inning in relief of Mike Mussina.
Well, I love what Santana has done, because after he was staked to that early lead and then expanding it to 4 runs, he's set down 10 straight Yankee hitters. Just coming on and saying, okay, boys, I'll take it from here. You've given me some runs, and I'll show you I can finish up this game.
He is dealing.
Tanyan Sturts just trying to keep the Yankees within striking distance here. Remember, this isn't a real prolific offense the Twins feature. They rely on good, solid pitching, not making any mistakes, not giving their opposition extra outs during an inning. And one thing Ron Gardner told us before the game, if he had his druthers, one thing he'd like to see this team do is just be a little more consistent on offense. He said sometimes we see our guys swing at balls in the dirt, high up over their heads, and you just don't understand where they're coming from. Their experience, most of them have a lot of experience. They've enjoyed a lot of success. Corey Koski has been great. Justin Morneau, the youngster, has contributed with 11 home runs. But they haven't been as consistent as the manager would like them to be.
You know, you just mentioned Gardenhire, just a little nugget. Admittedly, it's easier to win a pennant. They're more available than there were once upon a time. But him coming in and managing his first 2 years of winning a pennant, only 3 other managers in the history of the game ever did it. Ralph Houck, 61-62 Yankees. Mickey Cochran in the 30s with the Tigers, and Huey Jennings with the Tigers. Meanwhile, this one is pounded. Another leadoff man doing some business. Blanco, the catcher's going to drive for 3. Relay from Jeter. Safe.
Henry Blanco with his first triple of the season leads off the 6th inning, and he has been anxious to contribute with the bat, filling in for the injured Joe Mauer. Look at Ron Gardner. That tells you all you need to know about Blanco hitting a triple. He knows he's got one in the gap and motors around the bag at first base, looks up, and Bernie Williams has his back to the infield. He says, I'm going for 3. And he makes it. First triple of the year.
And he bunted the last time.
Absolutely.
Running beautifully.
Al Newman says, you got to get down.
Al was giving him the hard, we're not worthy sign.
Surprised they didn't call timeout and let him catch his breath.
That's a great job. He runs well. I didn't know he ran like this, seeing him with the Braves. You know, he caught Greg Maddux. That's when you would see him. I just didn't know he could motor. I guess you come to the Twins, and it's part of the MO, huh?
Well, he's been anxious to contribute with the bat. He's done a good job behind the plate, but came into this game batting just 200.
Well, yet another guy from Venezuela on the Twins. Blanco and Rivas and the 3 pitchers we mentioned.
That sign there was just get a good jump off the plate. He's going to send Blanco. Gardenhire talking to Al Newman and Henry Blanco at third base. Put the ball in play now. We're going to try to steal a run here. Force the Yankees in this situation. A little bit surprising that they would do that with Shannon Stewart on deck.
Everyone in the infield.
I got to believe that they're going to hold Blanco. I can't expect them to gamble with a runner at third base and nobody out with Shannon Stewart on deck. 3 hits already in this game, just a triple short of the cycle. Let me tell you something. When Shannon Stewart gets it going, you can't get him out. And he can hit everything. He can hit balls off the plate away. He can hit fastballs up under his chin. And he's in one of those grooves tonight.
Here's Stewart. The hardest one is really the triple for a cycle, but as you say, he's pounding them all, Buck. Full count to Rivas. Catcher did it, so Stewart can. Did he go? No, says Bruce Fremming over at first. Runners at the corners for the red-hot Stewart. Red-hot in the studio, Steve Levy, Rob Dibble.
All right, Chris, thanks very much. The Tigers and the White Sox. Aaron Rowand had been 2 for his previous 18 career with the bases loaded.
And then he goes deep, and boy, do they really need that. They got 40 games remaining. They're 6 games back in the wild card. They're either going to win the division or they're not going to probably make the playoffs.
Boom, Pudge was a late scratch, sore right hip.
Well, Rowan and Martin with the joke wall there with the grand slam. Ruth Buzzy, Goldie Hawn, my man Artie Johnson, Henry Gibson, Alan Seuss, Lily Tomlin. You know the crew.
Great crew. We spent lots of time watching that.
One of the best television shows ever. Meanwhile, Shannon Stewart, last Twin to hit for the cycle. Kirby Puckett, 1986. We saw a cycle last night by Texas's Mark Yellow Rose of Teixeira, the only other cycle in Texas history. One of the classics, O to B Young Again McDowell. And there's Kirby Puckett, the last Twin to have a cycle. There have been 7 of them, and the names don't get much better than the ones I'm going to read. That won't be a triple. Jeter, Wilson to Olerud, and instead they get the DP. But no RBI. Shannon Stewart really doesn't care. They took the outs. Blanco scores. It's 5-0.
Well, Stewart puts it in play, and it's 2, but Henry Blanco comes in after his leadoff triple, and it's a 5-run lead now for Minnesota. Derek Jeter turned it very quickly, gave it over to Enrique Wilson, who converted it to bag at second.
Well, look, every run is huge. The way Santana's pitching, I mean, one run to get off him is huge. So you just start piling on. Joe Torre knows it'll be tough scratching back in this one. Now the cycles as Jones fouls it off. Rod Carew.
He could hit.
Larry Heisel.
He could hit.
Lyman Bostock.
Great hitter.
Caesar Tovar.
Another great hitter.
Guy played all 9 positions in one game. Mike Cubbage, Gary Ward. But I mean, you're on a list. Oh, that ball is driven by Jacque Jones. Matsui is back. See ya. That ball kept carrying and carrying and carrying. And the Twins have meant serious business here thus far in this 2-game series.
Home run number 20 for Jacque Jones, and he has moved up into the 2nd spot. Ron Gardner said I had to do something to spark this offense. He mixed up the lineup, and it has paid off. 6 runs here tonight. They made the lineup change on Sunday, and they've won the 2 previous. Take a look at the pitch from Sturts. Looks like a splitter away, and Jacque Jones stays on it, and he knows he's hit it hard. To be able to toss the bat like that going opposite way gives you a pretty good idea. It felt good when he touched it off.
Hey, Jay, you weren't sure if it was going to totally carry out there, but that ball, that's where Blanco hit it. I mean, the ball traveling well. I was wondering when this crowd would start to put their chest out a little bit. Oh, this ball is driven by Torre Hunter to right center field, sends it back. It's off the hefty bag. Hunter in with a double. Oh, they're tattooing him now. They lead 14-2 in this game and a half. And come on, Minnesota, you've been waiting for years. Let it fly.
Jacque Jones goes opposite field. Torre Hunter does the same. A home run and a hammered double to right center. That'll bring Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach, out. And the Yankees, you're right, they're struggling with their pitching, and the Twins are starting to gain some confidence.
They need a single, and they have a cycle this inning. They've been waiting so long. It's not an anti-Yankee statement, but I mean, I just figured that this would be a party tonight if they're laying it on again. We're going to party on ESPN2 at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific with the Braves and the Padres. David Wells, the one-time Yankee, the Boomer, pitching for San Diego tonight against Paul Bird, back from many, many injuries for the Braves. So you want to join us for that. A little early for that, isn't it, Buck? Magic number 40? Sheesh. You can't even count that high.
That's a little bit premature.
Chris Berman, Buck Martinez with you here at the Metrodome as Justin Morneau up. The Twins have had homers from Shannon, Stewart, and Jacque Jones. They put a 6 spot behind a 2-hit performance by Johan Santana. And there's another base hit by Morneau. They have what looks like the inning cycle. Hunter scores. Tack on the extra point. 7-0.
Justin Morneau picks up his first hit of the night, and he does it with a 2-out RBI single to center field. Twins had a 3-run 4th. They've got 3 here in the 6th, and look at that swing by Justin Morneau. He goes down and gets a pretty good pitch from Tanyan Sturts, like a sinking fastball, and he hammers it into center field.
You know, and looking back to last night, in which they won 8-2, Buck, in a game that Vasquez certainly didn't have his best. 3 2-run innings. So that they've had 5 multiple-run innings against the Yankees here in this game and a half.
Ron Gardner has been waiting all year long for this offense to show up, and it might have turned the corner going back to Sunday.
I'm telling you, that homer by Koski, you're going to look back at this. I mean, now Cleveland could come in and, you know, do some damage, and we don't know what's going to happen the rest of this game or tomorrow with the Yanks, but you might just look at that 2-run homer by Koski in the 10th at Cleveland and see where the Twins catapult. I don't know. I know they've got a little run here where they got 3 with Cleveland, then they go to Texas, they go to Anaheim, and then Texas. So it's not that easy lining up for them. But if they're going to play the best teams in the American League, they might as well be playing their best.
Absolutely, and you've got to play the best to win. And this team has a lot of confidence, and the one concern they had was whether or not they would be able to score runs on a consistent basis against the good teams.
Hammered by Lou Ford. Cairo to Wilson for the force of Morneau, and the Twins are gone, but not until Jacque Jones hits his 20th. The Twins hang another 3 spot, and they lead it 7-0. Bottom of the 7th inning here in Minnesota. 7-0 Twins behind Johan Santana. Corey Koski to lead it off against Tanyan Sturts. 5 of the 6 previous innings, the Twins have had their leadoff man on. In 3 of those innings, their leadoff man has scored. There was Santana looking on as Koski grounds. He won't get on this time. Wilson, Olerud, 1 out to Steve Levy and Rob Dibble in the studio, fellas.
Boom, first game of a doubleheader in San Francisco. Barry Bonds fouled out as a pinch hitter. He's a regular hitter in the nightcap. Get out of town.
67 career multi-home run games. Jason Kendall has 67 home runs in his career. No multi-hit.
Boom, back to you.
8 shy of 700 home runs.
Incredible.
700 home runs.
I don't know how he gets so few pitches to hit during the course of a game and hits them.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous. I'm watching one of the greats ever. Can get to 700 home runs. And he won't quite get to Babe at 714 this season, although you never know. Christian Guzman. 2-1 to him. 41,125 tonight. A lot more in here than the last time I was here. When I filmed that scene in Little Big League, interviewing the 12-year-old manager of the Minnesota Twins, Olerud. And flip over to Sturts, and there's 2 outs. And we have more ESPN HD coming your way this weekend. Saturday, Colts and Jets preseason NFL. Saturday night. Sunday, Red Sox and White Sox. Full schedule of high-def events. Log on to ESPN.com and search HD. Our ace Statman Crothers over here, Marty Aronoff, points out that on dollar hot dog night, 41,000, you got to figure 2.5 each, right?
Oh, at least.
So 100,000 hot dogs tonight, if 2.5 per customer. It's about what we've been in the booth, about 2.5 each, right?
Yeah. You did a good job of keeping the mustard off your pink shirt.
Yeah, I know. It's a new shirt. You hate to take the shirt right out of the bag and go mustard right away, or cocktail sauce. It's the worst.
You've done a good job.
You know, it was a veteran. It was a tough effort.
It was. You were concentrating.
Plus, to get it all down between breaks.
You were focused.
Yes, I was focused. I'm working with you, Buck. I know I have to be. You know, shirt clean. Look, see? We'll show it in a minute. Nice you too with a blue shirt. Yellow mustard really looks good with the blue.
Clashes.
How about Henry Blanco the way he is motored tonight, huh? Look at this. Come on,
good job.
No chocolate mess.
No mustard at all. That was good. A 2-dog night with no mustard.
3-dog night with no mustard, we'd have a hit record. Jeter out. Makes the grab. Back to the hot dog stands. $1 a dog here tonight at Minnesota. Pass the mustard. We'll be back. Bounces away, and Sierra will score, and the shutout's gone. It's the first time we've seen Santana look human tonight, and that pitch obviously not quite where anybody expected it, Buck.
Now, it was a breaking ball, hard-biting slider in the dirt, and Henry Blanco tried to square up on it, and you can see he's a little bit late. Never went down to his knees. Played it off his shin guard, and by the time it hits his shin guard and goes over toward the Yankee dugout, Ruben Sierra scores easily. No play at all at the plate. First run of the night from New York.
Comes on a wild pitch. Count 2-2 to Wilson. He'll foul it off. Santana has he's pitched. I don't know that he's going to pitch 9 tonight. He's done it once. He's gone 8 a bunch of times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All in that streak that we keep talking about. Well, 7 times in his last 13 starts.
They're not going to allow him to struggle at all. That's why Balfour's up.
And excuse me, base hit by Wilson. And that'll send Olerud over to third. So again, the Yankees with runners at the corners.
I'm sure now they'll have somebody go to the mound and try to buy some time for their bullpen. Nope. They must know that Balfour's ready, and that's going to be it. Going to come to an end very quickly here in the 8th inning for Johan Santana, but he had the Yankees number all night long.
Balfour going to come in. Santana leaves to a standing ovation from 41,000 plus. He stands to up his mark to 13-6. And the Twins fans finally with their chest out looking at their ace. Balfour in to face Miguel Cairo with 2 runners on. The Yankees have scored. They still trail at 7-1. It'll be a mountain or a lot to climb, and all smiles in the dugout for Johan Santana. Balfour starts off with 2 balls, not what you want to come in and start throwing. Jeter on deck.
Balfour just back from the disabled list, makes his 23rd appearance of the season. Look at his opponent's batting average. 179, 31 strikeouts in 27 innings. And we told you there's a powerful bunch of right-handers down in that bullpen for Minnesota, and Brent Balfour is one of them. He'll throw it 94, 95 miles an hour. He was on the disabled list earlier in the season with the same right shoulder problem. He has spent parts of the last 2 seasons here in Minnesota, but this has been his most extended stay.
That will be foul. I think when you get a compliment from your peers, you are, and we wanted to do this, I probably should have given his numbers here first, and here they are. What? Nope, we'll give them all. Look at this quote from Pedro. We'll put it back up here in a minute. Reminds me so much of me younger. His stuff a little bit better, just a little better than I was. Very impressed and very happy for him that he's developed the way that he has. When you get an attaboy from Pedro Martinez like that.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, and it certainly has to make Santana feel proud, because here's a guy that started out as a reliever and worked his way into the rotation. Last year they brought in Terry Mulholland, and he was pushed out of the rotation, and he's a guy now that he has certainly entrenched himself into the #1 spot in this Twins rotation. And if they were to start the playoffs tomorrow, he'd probably open up the series.
Except that he'd need more than 1 day of rest.
He might. But he could throw changeups for 5 innings.
But if he had a couple dollar hot dogs, I think he'd be ready to go. No, you're right. You know, remember, he was, as you point out, Buck, just the starter really half of last season. Half his appearances were out of the bullpen. So he's just learning on the job still. But I guess you always do.
Yeah, you never stop learning. You always think about Maddox and Clemens and Glavine and all those great pitchers talk about always making adjustments.
Off the glove of Morneau, but the Twins may still get it. They do. If at first you don't succeed, Rivas makes the play. The run does score. Olerud in at 7-2. Quickly to the studio.
Boom. Ichiro had been hitting .508 since July 18th. Tonight he just was plain hit.
Yeah, well, the one thing you want to do with Ichiro is try to back him off the plate, and right there, just Serrano comes inside too far, hits him in the head. He's got a mild concussion and is day-to-day.
Chris and Buck, back to you guys.
Wow.
You always hate to see anybody get hit like that, but for Ichiro, He has been such a hot hitter for that Mariners team, on a team in which he's basically the only offensive weapon they have. And we certainly hope that he is okay and nothing serious or that doesn't linger for him.
Derek Jeter inside to him. He's seen heat inside. We don't talk about the Mariners much this year because they've had that sort of season, but you talk about a hitter winding it down. Edgar Martinez going to wrap it up after this year, and I always like to watch that compact swing. Jeter to right. Jacque Jones there, plants for the throw, and everybody back.
Yeah, that Edgar Martinez page will be a difficult one to turn in Seattle history. I mean, that really punctuates the end of an era. Ken Griffey Jr., Alex Rodriguez, Edgar Martinez, Randy Johnson. I mean, those guys are all gone, and it's going to be a long time before that organization gets back to that stature again.
That was, I mean, Edgar, and you think you see in the Yankees here, Edgar's highlight, if you will, was that series in '95 when the Mariners, we had, what, it was 7 RBIs that one game, and then he drove in Junior Griffey in the extra innings, and where everybody pitched, and Randy Johnson and Cone, and that 2 months, that 6 weeks saved baseball in Seattle. They were in big trouble, and that series put them to where they are, you know, in stadium, etc.
Yeah,
he was great.
Certainly was, and he was instrumental in that organization maintaining such a high level of excellence.
Speaking of a high level of excellence, Gary Sheffield certainly can do that. Pops though. Rivas calls off Morneau, and he makes the catch. So Santana out. Yankees score a couple runs, but they got a lot of digging to do in their last at bat. 7-2. Wednesday Night Baseball here on ESPN, brought to you by Bank One. Seen Bank number 1 for the Twins in their pitching rotation. Johan Santana pitch into the 8th inning. Leaves now with a 7-2 lead as we hit the bottom of the 8th inning. Tanyan Sturts came on in the 5th for Mike Mussina, and he's done at least, you know, they haven't blown out anybody else in the bullpen, Buck.
No, and that's huge for him to be able to stretch out his appearance, give them 4 innings.
Cairo to Olerud. And Luis Rivas is out. Shannon Stewart coming up, and he's had a big-time night. In the very first inning, leading off against Mike Mussina. See ya. A no-doubter. Number 7 of the year for him. Then in the 4th inning against Mussina, doubled. He had singled in the 3rd. And then in the 5th inning, on a ball well hit by John Olerud, Stewart timed it perfectly. So a big night for Shannon Stewart, a big night for the Twins. Put it into perspective. So last night they lost 13 straight regular season games to this team. They were 2-20. Well, Mike Mussina had a 20-2 record against the Minnesota Twins. Lifetime. It's a big night. Those are big numbers that they're erasing this year.
Well, and they sure are, because they came home to play the Yankees after a very tough road trip into Cleveland, where they lost 2 out of 3, and Cleveland closed to within a game on Saturday night. Twins came back on Sunday. They come in here and win the opening game of the series, first time they've faced the Yankees this year, and they snapped that 13-game losing streak. And then they back it up again tonight with an outstanding performance by Santana. Shannon Stewart setting the tone for the offense, and then they just have the confidence that they can close it out. And in fact, they're going to bring Joe Nathan into the game to wrap up the 9th inning in a non-save situation.
Yeah, Joe has been nothing short of sensational. 27 straight scoreless appearances. And the last American League pitcher to do that was Mariano Rivera, 28 in a row in 1999. Super Joe Nathan. And what a pickup he has been from the San Francisco Giants. So, you know, the Yankees, in their behalf, all right, there's Mariano yawning because it's a non-pitch situation for him, and you're seeing him flash Gordon and Quantrill 1, 2, 3 in the league in appearances. And Stewart will not get the cycle tonight. He will strike out looking. Back to the studio, fellas.
All right, Boom, thanks very much. So Minnesota winning. How's Cleveland doing? The team that's trailing them in the Central. Not that good anymore thanks to Hank Blaylock.
2-8 with a 6.8 ERA coming in. Hank Blaylock breaks the game open a little bit there. 3-2 Texas on his home run.
Rangers have won 7 of 8 against the Tribe this season, Chris.
An old doinker off the pole, huh, Buck?
Yeah, and you know what? Hank Blaylock has really struggled in the second half since the All-Star break. He's not hitting very well, so that's a good sign for Buck Showalter that his big young third baseman is starting to shake the second half slump he's been in.
Jacque Jones hit his 20th home run of the year. His last time up. This time he'll hit it to Jeter. Over to Olerud. Jones is going to 1-2-3 inning for Sturts. And so we head to the ninth. Joe Nathan coming in. The Twins up 7-2. Back here in Minnesota, we have game 3 tomorrow night. Silva and El Duque, but games 1 and 2 emphatically Twins. 8-2 last night. They lead 7-2 here in the ninth. Koski with a big hitting star last night, and even though Shannon Stewart's the hitting star tonight, Johan Santana off to win his 13th game, and Super Joe Nathan with an ERA on the interstate on August 18th, 0.84. 27 straight appearances without allowing a run. And just to get him some work, right, Buck?
Yeah, well, he picked up the save on Sunday's game. The off day Monday, didn't pitch last night, so you want to make sure you don't sit him too long because he is in such a group. You bring him in here to punctuate this very good game for Minnesota.
Had a great talk with him before the game, and he says, you know what, talking with Tim Morello, a little bit with Rob Nen, because I really didn't know how to expect. When I came over here in the trade with Przinsky, it wasn't Godardo and LaTroy Hawkins were still here. They didn't think they'd keep both, but he didn't think both would be gone. They didn't say, you're our closer.
Right.
So, you know, I never really did this. And he said, you know, this pitching the ninth, I think the 7th and 8th is harder. So you keep thinking that way, and you're going to keep pitching like you are.
Well, Ron Gardner said he had a difficult time figuring out where to set early in the ballgame.
Yes.
Stay in the clubhouse, go to the dugout, go down to the bullpen. You know, veteran closers have a routine. You know, they stay upstairs or they go
He's
down
got
to the
it.
clubhouse.
I asked him.
Yeah.
He said he was sitting in the bullpen the whole time because, you know, he middleman Giants. He said I was getting stale out there. Bernie Williams fouls it off for the paraphernalia. So I go 3 in the dugout, then I go clubhouse 3, then I go out to the pen. So he's got it down. It's August. He has his routine down.
Take a look at this foul ball. Gets the catcher on the mask, hits the umpire on the mask, and causes all kinds of havoc at home plate.
Well, Bernie's a switch hitter. He's a 2-masker. He's a switch master. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Leadoff man of the ninth. Masks back. Nathan looks in. One little note on the Yankees. I meant to get this in earlier. They're in the roughest stretch. These truly are the dog days for them. Yes, Boston beat Toronto tonight 6-4, so they swept Toronto. We always get our man, Buck. And but so that means the lead will be down to 8 for the Yankees. The Yankees 3 at Texas, 3 at Seattle, 3 at Minnesota here. Rip, but right in the glove of Morneau. Home to 3 Anaheim, 3 at Cleveland, 4 at Toronto. That's 16 of 19 on the road. They can survive this and just kind of keep their heads into it. You know, they will. But this is their roughest stretch travel-wise of the season. Major League Baseball, Boys and Girls Clubs of America are sending kids to the ballpark in support of childhood cancer research. Tickets are available at every market for a donation of $1 each. Log on to MLB.com for more information. I have enjoyed getting my man back tonight. So always get our man. Good to see you, man.
Been good, Boomer. Another good ball game. Pennant baseball. Feels like the old times.
We'll have more. Miss you. Hopefully.
We never go too far away.
No. I know we know where each other lives. That's part of it. Hopefully the folks out there enjoyed this. A little Wednesday night baseball old school tonight. Great job by our crew here tonight in Minneapolis. Gonna be a big night at the Loon, I think. Some toonies at the Looney. But before we go to the Loon, that ball almost to the saloon. Matsui pummels the hefty bag, and the Yankees won't just sit down. More baseball tonight on ESPN2. The Padres at home against the Atlanta Braves in 15 minutes coming up. Braves, Chipper starting to heat up. The Braves, big leaders in the NL East. The Padres, alive in the NL West. Certainly big factors in the wild card race. Can San Diego get back in the postseason first time since '98? Can Atlanta get back in there for the 12th time in the last 12 years? Yeah. You'll see it tonight on ESPN2.
It's a Boomer doubleheader. Boomer in Minnesota, Boomer in San Diego.
David Wells, very good. You haven't, see, you still have your sneaky fastball, Buck, in the ninth. A two-boom night. Jorge Posada against Joe Nathan.
See the number, how consistent Nathan has been. He's not allowed a run since the 9th of June versus the Mets. 26 straight appearances.
How's that going?
Pretty smoothly.
Joe, an occasional starter, but mostly more relief of the Giants.
Ron Gardner said they had no idea he would make the transformation as effectively and smoothly as he has. Great fastball, devastating slider, and he has the ability to throw that curveball over almost at will.
You know, we've had fun tonight pointing out where some of the Twins have come to hotbeds, Sydney and Manitoba and British Columbia and Venezuela. Joe went to the college baseball hotbed of SUNY Stony Brook, State University of New York. Joe grew up.
I know exactly where it is. Yeah.
He grew up an hour and a half north of New York City. There's, if you know the area, it's Westchester County, north of New York. Then there's Dutchess and Putnam County, and then Orange County. So it's up about Poughkeepsie, another half hour up. I mean, Yankee Met country-ish, but upstate about an hour and a half. And pitching in the American League for the first time, maybe that's giving him some sort of an advantage, Buck. I mean,
I don't think he needs much of an advantage with the stuff he features.
Oh, Joe Torre picked him for the All-Star team, and what he says, I'm still kind of getting over that. That was just a blur.
Yeah, the first time you make an All-Star team, from what I understand, having made one myself, but everybody says it's an honor to look around and see the teammates that you have, because then you have a feeling that you belong in this elite crop of great players. Joe Nathan certainly belongs among those great all-star players.
He just missed there. Hey, look, the Yankees still grinding it, Buck. You got to give them the nod, right?
Oh, they never give up. They never give up, no matter what the situation looks like. We talked about their 46 come from behind wins tonight. It would be a huge comeback, and against maybe the toughest right-hander outside of Mariano Rivera.
To put in perspective, ERAs in guys that have had 30 saves.
Now, the great season
in 90,
he was perfect.
Walked like 7 guys.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Joe Nathan, John Smoltz, 112. Jose Mesa in 95 for the Indians.
Eck, Hall of Fame. Smoltz maybe one day. And Nathan busts that one down on Posada. The Yankees are down to their last out. Tony, it's a big night here for the Twins.
Great curveball. You can see the tight spin, and Posada swings right over the top of it. And Joe Nathan trying to keep his scoreless streak intact with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position.
Ruben Sierra, last hope for the Yanks. That's who he is at second. It's a 7-2 game. Braves, Padres, and ESPN2, top of the hour. We'll let the crowd take you home here on Dollar Hot Dog Night, 41,000 plus. A lot of frustrations being played out here for the Twins and their faithful this week.
And they erased the memory of that 13 straight losing streak on Tuesday night.
Not to mention the 3-1 loss in the playoffs last year. I mean, this, I'm telling you, you're going to look to this week. I just think.
Power against power. Nathan wins out. High fastball blows it right by Ruben Sierra. Shannon Stewart with a big night at the plate and in the field.
He can get louder here. And here it is.
The only thing that's missing are the Homer Hankies.
Yeah, those are great.
Need to bring back the Homer Hankies.
Down the line, foul, as he made a bid for homer number 300. See, so you've hung in a 7-2 game, and you almost saw some history. So for those of you that hung with us tonight, way to go. Nice hair, Buck. Oh, that's not you.
Colorful hair.
Full count now to Sierra. Gets him on a change. Buck, I enjoyed this immensely.
It's a pleasure, Miller. Good to see you again.
The Twins enjoyed this immensely. For the second straight night, they laid into the Yankees. They win it tonight at the count of 7-2 as Johan Santana wins for the 13th time this season. They'll play the third game of this three-game set tomorrow. Baseball tonight coming up next. It's been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more Major League Baseball information, log on to ESPN.com. As we told you, baseball tonight is next. ESPN2 will have the Padres hosting the Braves. For Buck Martinez and all of us here in Minnesota, I'm Chris Berman. Thanks for watching Wednesday Night Baseball.
Yanks and Twins. Johan Santana came in with a 1.66 ERA in his last 13 starts. Look at his resume, will you please? It's just incredible. It's ridiculous. And you know what else? His changeup is the bomb. It is so nasty. That's what opposing hitters have so much trouble with. Top of the first, scoreless, runner on second, 2 out. Bernie Williams swinging, ending the inning. Santana says his goal is not individual honors, by the way. Mike Messina, 20-2 career against the Twins. Still scoreless in the first, scoreless, but not for long. Thanks to Shannon Stewart, over the top. 7th home run of the year. One of his 3 hits in this game put Minnesota on the board, 1-0. Same score in the 4th, runners on second and third, Christian Guzman. That'll work. That'll score Lou Ford and Corey Koski, and just like that, the Twins are up 3-0. There's more of an onslaught against the Moose. Mike Messina, who lasted just 4 innings, allowed 5 hits, 4 runs, and walked 4. Stewart with a double. That scores Guzman. It's 4-0 against these Yankees. But this is all about Shannon Stewart right now. Double S, and he can do it in all ways.
This is hit well by Olerud to left field. And leaping at the fence. What else can he do tonight is Shannon Stewart.
I have the power to make that a top play nominee. Stewart, 3 RBI. It's a 7-0 game. Yankees down, runner on second, and Santana. 7 innings, 5 hits allowed, 6 Ks. But Buck Martinez, I have a question. Is Santana the real deal?
Well, Johan Santana is having a career season. He's a young pitcher that has really established himself in the middle of this season. 3 great pitches, a devastating slider, a great changeup, maybe the best changeup in the league. And now he is leading the league in strikeouts. Whether or not he can end up the Cy Young, the only guy I think that's in contention along with Santana, of course, is Mark Mulder. Mulder's having a great year out in Oakland, but it's going to be a great race between 2 very fine young left-handed pitchers.
Buck, thanks. Hey, he's a starter who knows how to close. What do I mean? Here's what I mean. Johan Santana is just so smooth. He has the best record of any pitcher since the All-Star break, 6-0. And last season, he was 8-1 after the All-Star break.